Let me hit you with something that might sound a little dramatic, but I promise it's not hyperbole. If we lose the chip war, we lose the next war. Period. Now, that doesn't mean tanks roll down Main Street tomorrow or that you need to start digging a bunker in your backyard. But it does mean this: the future of national security, economic independence, and even your kids' job prospects might hinge on whether America can build the world's most advanced semiconductors on its own soil. Welcome back to Full Spectrum Frontiers. I'm Bennett Tanton, and this podcast is all about connecting the dots across the battlefield, the boardroom, and your backyard. From hypersonic missiles to hollowed-out manufacturing towns, we explore how the full spectrum of conflict, economic, political, military, cyber, and cultural, is shaping our lives whether we like it or not. Now, I've talked about semiconductors before. In fact, I did an entire episode last year diving into the global chip crisis, what caused it, who's dominating the game, and why the phrase supply chain resilience suddenly became sexier than a Wall Street merger. But a lot's changed since then, and we're not just talking about a few new fabs breaking ground or politicians posting hard hat selfies. No, we're seeing the rise of something deeper, more strategic, more intentional. Enter the Midwest Microelectronics Consortium, or MMEC. Never heard of it? You're not alone. Most Americans haven't, and yet MMEC might be one of the most important organizations you've never heard of. This isn't just another government grant slush fund. This is an operational nerve center connecting the Department of Defense, private industry, and academic powerhouses, all working together to claw back American dominance in microelectronics. And let's be real, this isn't about nostalgia. We're not trying to recreate 1960s Detroit or slap Made in America stickers on outdated tech. This is about building something new, something sovereign, something that fuses military-grade innovation with commercial scalability and puts real people, not spreadsheets, in the center of the strategy. This is national resilience through collaboration. It's not glamorous, it's not perfect. And yeah, it's going to take decades, but the groundwork is being laid right now in places like Beaver Creek, Ohio, and Clay, New York. Not in Silicon Valley, not in DC, in the heartland. In this episode, we're going to dig into three things. Why chips are the new bullets. From fighter jets to fridges, semiconductors are now embedded in every aspect of power and life. We'll explore how this tiny piece of silicon became the most strategically important material on Earth. How MMEC is building more than fabs. They're building frameworks. We'll unpack their lab-to-fab-to-mission model and how they're fast-tracking military and commercial innovation like nothing we've seen before. And finally, what this means for you. Whether you're a veteran, a manufacturer, a student, or a parent wondering what kind of world your kids will inherit, this episode's going to show you how semiconductor strategy is national strategy. But before we launch into this, I've got one quick ask. If this podcast is helping you connect the dots, if it's planting seeds or challenging the narrative, then take 30 seconds and leave a rating, a review, or share it with a friend who still thinks chips are just things you eat during football games. Because that's how we grow. And this conversation needs to grow. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with the truth that should shake us out of complacency. He who controls the chips controls the future. Not potato chips, not poker chips. I'm talking about semiconductors, the tiny, nearly invisible brains inside everything from F-35s to iPhones, power grids to pacemakers, AI engines to the touchscreen on your fridge. Without them, modern civilization grinds to a halt, and for decades, we treated their production like a convenience, something we could outsource, like making t-shirts or rubber duckies. But semiconductors aren't just another consumer good, they're critical infrastructure. Now, rewind to the last few years. The pandemic exposes a supply chain that's not just fragile, it's downright brittle. An auto factory shuts down in Michigan because a fab in Malaysia sneezes. Hospitals can't get the imaging chips they need. Even the Pentagon starts sweating because some of its most sensitive systems rely on parts built in countries we may not be able to count on in a real conflict. The moment the global chip shortage kicked in, we weren't just facing a tech disruption. We were facing a strategic wake-up call. Here's where it gets serious. Right now, the vast majority of advanced chip manufacturing happens in Taiwan, an island that, as you know, sits like a pressure mine between China and the rest of the world. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, makes about 90% of the world's most advanced chips. Think about that for a second. That's like if 90% of your antibiotics came from one factory perched on the edge of a volcano. Now imagine the Chinese Communist Party is staring at that volcano with a match in its hand. We're not talking hypotheticals. We're talking contingency planning at the highest levels of U.S. intelligence, defense, and industry. Because if China invades Taiwan, or even just blockades it, it's not just their chips that get cut off. It's our defense tech, our communications, our economy, the jet fighters we fly, the satellites we launch, the encryption systems we rely on, all of it becomes compromised. So, yeah, this is bigger than getting the latest iPhone a few weeks late. This is national security in the purest sense of the word. The response? The CHIPS and Science Act, a $52 billion investment to bring semiconductor production back to American soil, a policy sledgehammer. It's not perfect, it's not fast, but it's a start. Still, let's be honest, money alone isn't going to fix this. You can't just throw dollars at Taiwan and expect Texas overnight. What we're dealing with here is decades of offshoring, a hollowed-out manufacturing base, a talent shortage, and a culture that's forgotten how to build the hard stuff. This is where organizations like MMEC come into play, because it's not enough to build one fab in Phoenix and call it a day. What we need is a system, a network, a realigned national ecosystem that brings together government, defense, academia, and industry, and gets them building together, not just talking in separate rooms with different lingo. That's what MMEC is doing. They're one of the regional hubs in the DoD's Microelectronics Commons program, essentially America's moonshot to reclaim chip sovereignty. Based in Ohio but operating across the Midwest, MMEC is acting like a command center for coordinated chip innovation. They're connecting R&D labs with fabrication capabilities and aligning both to mission outcomes, especially defense needs. That last part is critical. This isn't just about commercial chips for your car or your TV remote. MMEC is helping drive development of components that power next-gen radar, electromagnetic warfare systems, AI-driven battlefield analytics, real-deal warfighting tech. And it's not just hardware either. MMEC is also focused on secure edge computing. Imagine battlefield sensors or drones processing data locally instead of pinging back to the cloud. That's the difference between life and death in a kinetic conflict. That's the difference between losing a drone and losing a platoon. Let me give you a metaphor. If the semiconductor crisis is a leaking boat, most people are handing out buckets. MMEC is designing a new ship, one that can navigate geopolitical storms, industrial gaps, and defense urgency, all at the same time. And this isn't just theory. They've got boots on the ground, projects in motion, and timelines that don't stretch to 2050. These are programs designed to deploy now, like wideband multifunction radios, AI-powered chips with ultra-low latency, secure GPU modules, stuff that has both commercial upside and battlefield application. Why? Because the future is hybrid. Everything is dual use now. Civilian tech is defense tech. That's the nature of full-spectrum conflict. So here's the big idea I want you to take from this segment. America can't afford to play catch-up anymore. The chip war is already underway. It's economic, it's technological. And yes, it's deeply national security. We're in a new kind of arms race. The battlefield is silicon, the bullets are data packets, and the margin for error shrinking every day. If America's going to win this new chip war, it can't just fund innovation, it has to operationalize it. And let's be real, DC isn't exactly known for speed. But there's a new framework emerging through the Microelectronics Commons, and MMEC is right at the center of it. It's called Lab to Fab to Force, not a slogan, not a grant-writing gimmick. It's a blueprint for how you turn raw research into actual battlefield-ready tech, fast. Let's break it down. Step 1, Lab, innovation at the edge. This is the front end. Ideas, research, blue sky thinking. MMEC works with universities, think tanks, and private sector labs to fund and foster cutting-edge developments in microelectronics. But unlike traditional academic silos, MMEC doesn't just throw money at researchers and say, "Good luck, publish a paper." They say, "What's the mission? Who's this for? And how fast can we get it to someone who needs it?" Take the ultra-efficient in-hardware AI prototypes project. The goal? Develop AI chips that don't rely on giant server farms, but instead run real-time data processing in small power-efficient packages. Think battlefield drones identifying threats on the fly, or body-worn devices processing sensor data without needing the cloud. They're building these systems using compute-in-memory architectures on FPGAs, essentially merging processing and storage to boost speed and reduce energy use. That's a fancy way of saying they're making smarter chips that can think faster and survive in harsher environments. No more waiting for laggy satellite uplinks in contested zones. That's innovation with a kill switch. Step 2, Fab, from concept to concrete. Once that raw innovation shows promise, it's handed off to the next phase, fabrication. This is where the rubber meets the road, or rather, where the silicon hits the substrate. America's got a major gap here. We have some great research institutions, sure, but our ability to manufacture complex chips, especially onshore, is still fragile. MMEC helps bridge that. They coordinate with US-based foundries, prototyping labs, and packaging facilities to turn research into real-world hardware. That includes things like secure GPU modules for edge AI and reconnaissance, programmable RF-enabled chiplets that allow for signal interception or spoofing, reconfigurable radio filters for software-defined warfare platforms. These aren't hypothetical PowerPoints. These are early prototypes moving into production pipelines, products being tested with military use cases in mind, not just commercial buzz. What makes MMEC different here is that they de-risk the middle of the tech valley of death. You know that place where good ideas go to die? That no man's land between prototype and product? Yeah, they're laying a bridge across it. Because innovation without infrastructure is just potential. And potential doesn't win wars.
Step 3. Force aligned with mission needs. This is the tail end. This is where technology meets purpose. Unlike typical innovation cycles where defense might get the tech years after the commercial market is saturated, MAC's lab to fab to force model front loads the mission. They're building to need, not to novelty. Take Corsair, one of their flagship projects. That's shorthand for co-packaged, reconfigurable signal and intelligence architecture. It's a modular signal processing platform, like a brain you can plug into multiple defense systems, designed for everything from electronic warfare to SIGINT. And the whole thing is designed from day one with DoD guidance. This is key. MMEC isn't just innovating in a vacuum. Their tech roadmap is built with input from end users in the field. That means soldiers, analysts, UAV operators, intel officers. They're involved early, not looped in after procurement. Now compare that to the old model. Think of how long it took the Pentagon to integrate new body armor or small arms optics. Years, sometimes decades. By the time the gear shows up, the war it was designed for is already over. MMEC is trying to short-circuit that cycle. They're building chips that meet mission specs on day one, not after a 200-page report and 6 congressional hearings. This isn't just about engineering excellence, it's about operational relevance. And that, my friend, is a culture shift. Dual use and commercial spillover. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Nearly every one of these projects has dual-use applications. Secure GPU modules. You better believe the finance and healthcare sectors want those. Low-power AI chips? That's gold for autonomous vehicles and smart manufacturing. RF filtering systems? Hello, next-gen 5G base stations. This is what you call return on investment. Defense dollars building tech that pays off across society, not just in classified silos. In other words, we're not building a war economy, we're building a resilience economy, one where national security and economic growth walk the same path. And MMEC's not doing this alone. They're plugging into a larger network of commons hubs across the country, each one focused on different areas like quantum, secure packaging, and trusted supply chains. But MMEC's edge is its integrated approach and tight relationship with Midwestern industry, which still knows how to build the hard stuff. It's like rebuilding America's muscle memory, one fab, one apprentice, one chiplet at a time. So, what are we looking at here? Not a miracle, not a shortcut, but a framework, one that shows how we go from R&D to readiness without losing steam in the middle. It's pragmatic, it's mission-focused, and it's exactly the kind of thinking we need to outpace authoritarian regimes that don't play by the same rules.
Let's cut to the core of it. You can pour $50 billion into semiconductor factories, you can cut all the red tape, you can even get the tech specs right. But if you don't have the people to run the machines, install the systems, or troubleshoot the hardware in the field, it's just empty buildings. We're not facing a chip shortage. We're facing a people shortage. The U.S. semiconductor industry is expected to need over 115,000 new skilled workers by 2030. That's engineers, technicians, cleanroom operators, material scientists, and even trades like HVAC and fabrication. We're talking full-spectrum talent, from the white coats to the tool belts. Here's the kicker. We don't have them. Not yet. We spent decades outsourcing this industry, and when we did, we quietly dismantled the workforce that supported it. Trade schools disappeared, apprenticeship programs dried up, college pushed everyone into software and finance. Now we're trying to sprint back into the game, but we've got no bench. That's why MMEC's workforce development model is so important, because they understand this is not just about silicon, it's about skill. Building real pipelines, not just talking points. First, MMEC isn't trying to reinvent the wheel. They're doing something smarter. They're tapping into existing educational institutions, unions, veteran transition programs, and community colleges to amplify what's already working. For example, earn and learn models like registered apprenticeships are being built into the ecosystem. That means you don't need a 4-year degree to break into this industry. You can get paid while you train, then walk into a good job with real career growth. Veterans are being prioritized. And as a vet myself, I can tell you, this is a gold mine. You've got a workforce that already understands discipline, systems, and technology. Many of these guys and gals already operated radar systems, electronics, drone platforms, you name it. Now we're just translating that experience into the civilian chip world. K-12 partnerships. Yes, even high schools are getting in the game. MMEC is working with school districts to build early exposure programs, things like robotics clubs, intro to electronics labs, and micro-internships. The goal isn't just awareness, it's to rebrand the industry, make it cool, make it relevant, and most of all, make it real. Because let's face it, most kids today don't even know what a semiconductor is. We have to start showing them that this stuff matters, that it's not just about coding apps or becoming a TikTok influencer. You want to change the world? Learn how to build what the world runs on.
Local impact, national reach. Let's zoom in for a second. Take Onondaga County, New York, where Micron is building a massive fab with a projected $100 billion investment over 20 years. That facility alone is expected to create 9,000 direct jobs. But that's just the tip of the spear. When you include construction crews, supply chain vendors, support staff, logistics, security, and service-based businesses around the site, you're talking up to 40,000 indirect jobs in a single region. That's not hype. That's economic transformation. And it's happening in places most people wrote off as post-industrial wastelands. The same thing is starting to happen in the Midwest through MMEC's network. Cities like Dayton, Toledo, and Youngstown are seeing new life, not because of federal handouts, but because of coordinated long-term planning between industry and community. This isn't the old model of move fast and break things. It's move smart and build things. The kind of things that last.
Culture shift, revaluing the trades and techs. Now here's the part that doesn't show up in federal reports. We have to retrain our mindset. For too long, we've acted like the only worthy careers are white-collar, tech-forward, desk-bound jobs. But in the semiconductor world, the people who literally keep the fabs running, the technicians, machinists, process engineers, and systems integrators, are just as valuable as the PhDs writing the algorithms. And guess what? These jobs pay well. We're talking 70,000 to 100,000 plus with room to grow, benefits, stability, and a real sense of contribution. But we have to shake off the cultural stigma that says working with your hands means you didn't make it. Because the truth is, those are the people holding the country together. Quietly, daily, reliably. It's time we celebrate that. Measurement, transparency, and accountability. MMEC is not just throwing darts at the wall either. They're building metrics into the process. They track job placements, training completion rates, and regional economic growth. They coordinate with the federal government on outcomes, not just inputs. And they're bringing private investment into the fold. This isn't a welfare program, it's a win-win. Companies get talent, communities get jobs, and the country gets stronger. Let's call it what it is, industrial patriotism. No flag waving, no bumper stickers, just hard work, strategic planning, and a shared mission. So, where are we right now? We're in the middle of a massive recalibration, economically, strategically, culturally, and it's going to take all hands on deck. Not just policymakers, not just tech moguls, but teachers, veterans, engineers, students, laborers, everyone. The chip war won't be won by machines alone. It'll be won by people, skilled people, motivated people, people who believe in building something bigger than themselves. People like you. So here we are. We've just walked through the battlefield you won't see on the evening news or in a Tom Clancy novel. It's not lined with tanks or laser-guided missiles. It's lined with clean rooms, precision tools, and the quiet hum of machines etching circuits smaller than a virus. This is the new front line. And it's not coming. It's already here. Let's recap the mission. Chips are the new ammunition. Whoever controls the supply controls the system, military, economic, cultural. MMEC is building the blueprint. They're not a think tank. They're not a lobby. They're a command center for practical innovation plugged into defense, industry, and education. Their lab-to-fab-to-force model is proof that with the right coordination, America can compete. And people are the pivot point. No workforce, no war effort, no technicians, no tech. This isn't just about rebuilding factories, it's about rebuilding dignity, opportunity, and capacity in places that the old system left behind. Now look, I'm not saying this path is easy. There are real challenges ahead. Funding gaps, talent shortages, policy bottlenecks, and geopolitical heat that could boil over in a heartbeat. But here's the thing. We're not powerless. Not if we choose to engage. Not if we choose to build. Not if we choose to invest in resilience over convenience. If we want America to lead, not just react, we have to commit to the long game. And it's not just a government job. It's yours. It's mine. It's ours. So what can you do? If you're a student, look into microelectronics. Learn how chips work. Your country needs that knowledge more than it needs another social media marketing guru. If you're a veteran, consider reskilling. Your discipline and experience have a place in this industry. MMEC and programs like it are looking for you. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Help them see that the future isn't just in code or finance. It's in building again. And if you're a citizen who gives a damn, vote with your attention. Support leaders, policies, and institutions that understand the stakes and are willing to do more than virtue signal. Because we don't win by hoping. We win by doing. Before we sign off, do me one favor. If this episode got you thinking, share it, post it, text it to that friend who still thinks semiconductors are only about smartphones. Drop a rating or a review wherever you listen. Not because it boosts my ego, but because this is how we grow the mission. One informed listener at a time. This has been Full Spectrum Frontiers. I'm Bennett Tanton. Stay sharp, stay free, and remember, we're not just observers in this story. We're the ones writing the next chapter. Until next time.
I will be your shield in the fiercest battle. I'll defend you from all these arrows, and the sword I wield will keep you from danger. Let me be your shield.
Yeah. Yeah. just you, me, and the odds. We stuck together, we two peas in a pod. You dealt a bad hand, I'm there seizing the cards. We'll never be separated till we see in the gods. We've been low together, high forever. Long as we go together, we'll die whenever. Be a light, couldn't let the darkness try you ever. Truth in my word, you I lie to never. And when the world gets a little too hard, wipe your eyes, put away your sorrow. When it's war, I'll be leading the charge, and I'll be still fighting for you tomorrow. Yeah, even with a blindfold or in different time zones, could find my way to you with my eyes closed. There's nothing between us. Go to Mars and Venus, stand in front of every one of them rocks they slinging and be a shield.
Your shield in the fiercest battle, I'll defend you. From all these arrows and the sword I will keep you from danger. Let me be your shield.
Yeah, let's go. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield.
You may be facing tribulation, but don't let it get you down. What I'm saying may take patience, but you're gonna make it out. I scorched my own 2 feet to pull you to safety. When the fires are burning